Welcome to lesson 4, and we are going to take it from the previous lesson. Right? So doing that, yes, we have to get into it. So let me create a new document. So create new. Yes, I'll go with the saved preset. So double click on that, and then I have this opened in here. So control. So having this, so the previous one, yes, we ended here. That's the red eye tool. Right? That's where we ended. So we are going to take it from the brush tool. That's the next thing here, the brush tool. Now the brush tool here, it does a lot. Like it does a lot. So as I said, the brush tool, once it's selected in here, right, we can see this circle in there. So that's the brush tool. So for me to increase or decrease the size of the brush tool, I can use the square brackets open, right, or the square brackets closed, right. So with the square brackets that I'm talking about, right, if you're not seeing that, let me get my on-screen keyboard. All right, so I have my on-screen keyboard here. So these are the square brackets that I'm talking about. So this, right, or this one here. So this one is to increase the size, right? And this one here is to decrease the size. So having that's my brush tool. Once I use the square brackets open, that's this one here, right? It increases the size, and then the square brackets close, that's this one. Okay, the square brackets open, this one decreases the size, and then the square brackets open, this one here will increase the size of your brush. Right. All right. So with that, I have the brush tool. Now having the brush tool also, the brush tool uses this one here, the foreground color. So once I click and drag, right, I have the foreground color here being painted in here. If I should swap the colors in here by clicking this and then I click and drag, I have that in here using the brush tool to paint in here. So right, having this in here, we have these options in here. So this here, that's the brush, the size in here. We can also change the size from here. So once you click in here, you can change the brush size from here, right? And then you can also work on the hardness. So the hardness, if this is set to 100%, once you draw, it's going to give you straight edges in here, right? And then if you reduce the hardness to 0, right, the hardness, that is the edges, also is going to be some blade in there, so you can have it somewhere here, and then you see the difference also. So let me undo this and then change the size, right? And then that's also in here, so you can work with the hardness also to change the brush that you want, right? So okay, so let me take it back to 0. Mostly that's how I go with that. And then also we have this here, like the opacity, the blend mode in here. So the blending modes with this one, yes, I'll leave it at normal. The blending modes, I'm going to talk about this ones also very well in there. That's a topic on its own, the blending modes. So I'll just leave it at normal. Then I'll move on to the opacity. Right, so the opacity here, it's set to 100%. So once I brush in here, the opacity is set to 100%. Let me change the color here to green. Then once I paint in here, I can see it, the opacity is set to 100%. Now I can position my cursor here, click and drag to reduce the opacity, or I can click on the drop down and then I use this slider here to increase or decrease the opacity. So this, let me decrease the opacity. Okay, that's to 38%. Then once I brush in here, you can see that yes, we see through, right? We see through. So I've reduced the opacity. So that means it's no more opaque, right? It's no more 100% opaque. I've brought it to 38% opaque or some transparency in there, right? So that's it. So I can decrease it more, and then once I brush, right, yes, it falls, so it's not really being seen in there. So let me increase that back to, let's say, 78, and then once I brush also, you can see the level of opacity in there. Right. So that's with the brush. All right, so you can go with either the hard brush or the soft brush, or by working on the hardness. Now, the brush also, we have the types of brushes in there. So here, once I see this, once I click on this arrow, right, I have it in here, right? So here, I have general brushes, I have the dry media brushes, the wet media brushes, and then the special effects brushes. So let me go in with the general brushes. So the general brushes, that's what we were using. That's what I used to paint in here. So we are using the soft round here to paint. I can go in there and then change it to the hard round. And then once I paint, it's going to give me the hard edges in there. And then once I go there also, I have this option in here, that's the soft round pressure. Right, so I can go with that. Okay, and then that is also soft round in there. Right, and don't forget I'm still using my opacity 78%. So come in here, then I can go with any of these ones in here. Right, okay, so I have this also, and then I can paint in here. Right, okay, let me change this color. So I click on that and then come and change it. Let me change it to red. Okay, then I can go in there. So with this, that's for the softs or the general brushes, right? So let me collapse this one and then go in for the dry media brushes. So the dry media brushes, so there's a dry media brush, right? It's too small, so let me undo, right? So they all come with some effects. So I increase the size using the square brackets, or just come in here and then you can reduce or increase the size, decrease or increase the size from here. So that's what I have. Right, the opacity is 100%. So once I click and drag, right, that's the effect that is giving me, right? I can go in there, right, and then choose another one. So I can choose the second option, right, and then that's also the size is small. Let me increase the size, and then I will change the color here. Okay, blue. Okay, so I have the color changed, and then once I paint, that's what this also is giving me. I can increase the size, right, and then right, this is the effect that it gives, right? So that is the brush in there. Next in there, I can go with this one also, and then once it's selected, you can see this blue bounding box around it. That means that is the selected brush. So this also, I'll change the color. Okay. And then the size, I'll change the size from here. Okay, then I brush also to see the effect that one gives me. So let me increase the size, and then I brush also to see the effects that brush gives me. Right, when I click once, this is what it gives me. Right, so all the brushes in there have their effect. So let me scroll down and go in for this also, change the color. Right, okay, and then when I brush, this what that one also gives, or that's what it has to offer. Increase the size, and then I brush. Right, you see, that's what I have. Right, as the brush, I click once, and then gives me this. Right. So yes, they have. So you can try the brushes in there. Right, you can try the brushes in there. There are a lot. You have the wet media brushes, the special effect brushes. You can go with any of these ones here, and then you try them. Right, try them. Go with this here, right? And then this sort of leaves in there. Let me go with this, right? The color, change the color, and then I brush in here, right? And then this what that also gives me, right? So we can work on any of those brushes in there. So, oh, sorry, let me go with that. Okay, so any of those brushes in there, and then go with that. So yes, so that is a brush in here. So with this here, okay, let me go with this, change the color to white, and then I want to give that one here to the background. So with the background selected, I go with my alt and backspace, and then the color changes back to white. Right. Next in the like okay, so in the desk tool in here we have the pencil tool. So this also like the pencil tool, I can work on the size. Okay, and then that also I can choose from any of these ones, right? Any of the brushes in here which I want to use. So let me go with the dry, and then this in here, right? And then let me change the color, right, to a different color. All right, then the size, I increase the size, and then I can brush also with the pencil tool. So that also works like that of the brush tool. Yeah, that also with like some of the brush tool. So you can increase the opacity and then decrease that also from here. And then you can work with that. That's oh sorry, the pencil still change the brush. So there's this the pencil tool, right? That's also working like that of the brush on here. So we can reduce the size of it, right? Reduce the size of it, change the color, right, to any other color, right? Then you can use that as a pencil tool. So it works like that with the brush tool, right? Then working with the brush also, we have some many brush options in there, right? And then we are going to look at all those ones topic by topic. So with that, now we are going on with the tools, right? We are looking at the tools for now. Next in here, you have the color replacement brush, right? The color replacement brush. And then this here is for replacing colors. And then always you have to keep in mind that the color or the brushes, they use the foreground color. So this in here. So with the color replacement brush here, let me go in for an image, and then I'll open it in the new tab as a new tab or in the new document. So let me check my downloads and then see. Okay. All right, I'm going on with this. Right. So click and drag. So I'll drop it down in here. Yes, so I have it opened. So I can go in with another one in there and then try open that. I can try open this one also in here. Right. So having this in here, I can go with the color replacement brush. So this in here, the color replacement brush, and then I have this color selected. So once I paint, right, it's going to have like that, it's going to take effect in here. So I just click and then paint in here, right, and then that is going to take effect in there. So the tolerance, let me increase the tolerance a little bit so that it can't tolerate it. So anywhere the brush passes, right, it's going to have that effect in here. So let me undo this. So what I'm going to do is sometimes you can load selection, right, and then you brush, right? You can load selection and then you brush. So with this, let me go with my quick selection tool, and then I try to select this. So let me size small. Okay, so I click on this, right, to load a selection of it. Okay, so I want to do it for only the shape. Okay, so the selection is some unwanted part, right, have been selected. So with that, right, going through that tools, I said that if you have an unwanted part selected, you just have to hold on your Alt key, right, and then it gives you the minus. So you click, right, to take that part off, right? So Alt, and then I click. So this, right, the tool that I'm using, look at it, or that is the quick selection tool. And that's a quick selection tool. So I deselect all this portion. I don't need them, right? Okay. All right. So for the sake of demonstration, I'm just not going to do it right perfectly in here. So I'll just have these ones and it's just this portion here. So I have this, right? Okay, I get this. Then now I can now go in for my color replacement brush. Let me change the color. I don't like the color that I'm using. Right. Okay, so I'll go in with this color So that's the color that will be here. So I can brush and then it applies that color. So it will blend, right, the color in here, right? It will blend the color in here. So I brush in there and then it will replace the color, or it replaces the color for me in here. Right. Okay. Right. Or the mood in here, we have hue, right? You can go with saturation, color, white, so I can go with color, and then once I go with color and then I brush in there, yes, that is giving us, that's almost the actual color that we selected in there. So you brush and then that changes the color, right? So that's the color replacement brush, right, for replacing colors, right, for replacing colors. So with this I can go with, so once I'm done, the selection, right, as I said, you go to the select menu and then you deselect. So I go with this one here, sorry, this one here also, and then I can work on changing the color. So this, let me go in for blue, right, and then yes, the color mode, the mode I'll maintain color, right, so resize this, okay, okay, let me undo, okay, right, so resize this in here so that I can have the reduce the size in here. The hardness, I don't want too much hardness. Let me just bring it back down here. That's 23% hardness. Then I can brush to apply that. I see that. So I brush to apply it. So I think this is too much in here. Right. So let me undo this as Control Z. Let me reduce the tolerance a little bit and then brush in there. Okay. Right. So okay, have that in here. So mostly, right, mostly how you can use this is you can use this on black and white images to replace colors, right, on black and white images or grayscale images. So with this, let me check if I have any grayscale image in here, right? Then I try using it on it. So okay, I'll say this is one. Let me open this here. All right, let me go in there and check if I can get another one that's a better one in there. Right. Okay, I don't have any grayscale image in here. Okay, let me go earlier this year and check. All right, so cool. Yes, I have this. So let me drop this one here. Okay, a good one. So doing this, yes, you really have to take your time, right? You really have to take your time when working with something like this in here. Let me do something quick, right? Yes, you're not going to see that, but I'll talk about this later on, right? So, all right. Okay, so having this in here, now I can go in for the color. Let me go in with the green here, right? Then, okay. So with this, right, with this one here, that's still the color replacement brush. Then I'll increase the size a little bit so I can brush here to replace the color. Okay, so when brushing, yes, you brush carefully, right? You brush carefully to change the colors. So if I get to the edges like this, I'll have to reduce the size of it. Okay, reduce it a little bit more. Okay, then I can brush carefully right at the edge, right, so that does not eat into the portion. So as I do it here carefully, right. Right. So let me increase the size. That's with the square brackets, right? The square brackets close. Right. Then I brush here. Okay. So let me reduce it again and then deal with the edges here. Right. Okay. Okay. Once I have that, I can now increase it again and then brush here. Right. So wherever there is light or shadow, yes, it's going to do the magic for you. Right. It's going to do the magic for you, so you don't have to stress yourself on that. So with this, yes, you can actually see that there is a green grass over there. Right, you can see that there is a green grass over there. Right, so we just have to take your time and then do it very well, and then make sure also you pick the right colors, right, and then you are good to go. Right, so that is it. So this some of the things that you can use the color replacement brush for, right? Yeah. Then next in here we have the mixer brush tool, right? The mixer brush also. So with that, let me go on with this one in here. So the mixer brush here, I'll go on change the type of brush. So there's the general brushes in here, right? So go with this, okay, and then I can have this, and then that is the mixer brush in here, right? That's it mixes the colors in here, so it's using this one in here, right, to do that. Okay, so right, that will mix the colors in there based on the colors that you have in there. That's what it's going to use, right? And then it uses this color also, right, in here. So let me change this, right, and work with that, right? And then this is how it's going to work in here, right? So this works like something like smudging on here, right? Smudging. So that's for the mixer brush too. That's right. That's what the mixer brush too does. And then the next one in the right, the next tool there, we have the clone stamp and then the pattern clone stamp. So the clone stamp also, right? It works like down the patch tool, right? Looks like that with the patch tool. So let me close this one here. No, I won't save it. Close this also, and then close this as well. Right. So let me go on with any other image. So the clone stamp, the clone stamp. Okay, I'll go with this. So drag this and then drop in here. So using the clone stamp here, so I have the clone stamp tool selected. So with this, yes, I can use the square bracket to increase the size. So the clone stamp also works with the Alt tool. So with using the clone stamp, I can hold on the Alt tool. It gives me this. So I click here to pick pixels, and then I can fill this part right with it. So Alt click in here, and then I fill it. Right, Alt I click in here, and then I fill that with the clone stamp. Right. Okay. Right. So come to click in here. So that's the clone stamp. So when I click where I see the plus sign, that is where it's picking the pixels from. Right. So I come Alt click, and then I come to fill this part. Right. Fill this portion also with that. So that's how the clone stamp works in there. And then the next one in here, we have the pattern clone stamp in here. So with that also, let me increase that. And then right, once I click in here, it fills that with the patterns, right? The patterns that we have in there. So I can click and brush, and then it fills that with the pattern. So once you look on the options, right, the options bar or the options panel in here, we have the patterns in here. So you can choose from here any of those patterns in here. So this is the pattern that it's using, right? It's using this one here. You can change it to any of these ones. You can change it to the grass pattern, and then you have that. You can brush it with the pattern clone stamp, right? Yeah. So that's the work of the clone stamp tool in there. Then the next in here, we have the history brush tool. So history brush tool, right? Once I click on this, the history brush tool, it's going to take everything back to default. So as I had it, so I just brush in here, and then it's going to take everything back, right, to how I had it, right? So even the clone stamp that I used in there is going to erase that. That's the history brush tool. That's when I opened it, at first this is how it was. So the history brush takes it back to how that's its original state, right? That is, you are clearing the history in there. So we are going far back, right? And then here also we have the art history brush too, right? So this kind of some brushes in here. So once you click on that, right, and then that one also brushes in here, right? So that's sort of oil painting in here, right? That's what the art history brush tool does in here, right? If you should reduce the size of the brush, then oh, okay, so you can reduce the size of the brush, make it small, and then you brush, right? Okay, and then that is going to give you something better than the brush being so big, right? It's going to give you something like an oil painting, right? Something like an oil painting in there. So those into art, right? I'm sure you know what oil painting is. So you use that one in there, and then as you can see, the effect it's giving in here, right? Okay. So that's the art history brush tool in here, right? And then you have that. So the next thing in there, right? The next thing in there, and then that will be the last thing for this lesson. That's the lesson 4. Is we have the eraser tool. So eraser tool is something like this. Once you click to erase, right, it's going to use the background color, right? It's going to use the background color, and then this is the background color, so it's going to have it with the background color. So let's undo this. Now the reason why it's doing that is because there's a background, right? There's a background, that's why it's working on it that way. So let me come in here, that's into my layers panel, click on this, and then I'll make this a rasterized layer. So now once you have that, right, and then you increase the size, you can still come in here and then increase the size of it. Having that, come in here, the eraser tool. Now once you erase, it's going to give you a transparent background, right? So let me undo this, right? Once you do it, it's going to give you a transparent background. So this dummy background that you see there, it means that it's transparent. If I should draw a shape, I'll go in with this. I draw a shape here, right? So this shape is on top, right? All right, let me go into my layers panel. I click and drag this down, and I can see that, right, the shape behind. So that should show you that that is transparent, right? So once you erase, so let me delete this. So once you use the eraser tool in here, right, it's going to give you a transparent background, and then the edges also, right, it's appearing to be sharp. If you don't want that, you can come in here and then work on the hardness, reduce the hardness of the eraser tool, and then when you erase, it's not going to give you the sharp edges or the sharp edge, right, in there. So that's the eraser tool. That's how it works. The next in there, right, you have the background eraser tool. Background eraser tool. The background eraser tool also, it's used for erasing backgrounds, but it has to do with object with solid backgrounds, right? Object with solid backgrounds. So when I say object with solid backgrounds, an object having one color as the background can be white, blue, green, yellow, red, right? Any solid color as the background. So that's the magic eraser tool. So with that, if I go with the magic eraser, right, right, and then right, sorry, okay, sorry, that's the background eraser. Sorry, the background eraser, and then I erase this. I'm not seeing anything take place or any effect in here, right? And then you can, the hardness also, you can reduce it. So with this, let me get in an image and then have it. So with this in here, let me try this image here, though it's not a solid background. Okay, and then drop it here. So with this, right, okay, yes, it's working. So with this here, right, and then I go in for the background eraser tool. So once I click on this, yes, it's able to identify the background. Yes, we see, okay. So it's erasing the background. Or sometimes yes, it will affect the objects, right? It will affect the object sometimes, right? So with this, right, unless the object really stands out. So when erasing, you have to make sure that you don't really eat into the object. So let me resize this in here and then have it right around that. And then that is going to erase, right, the background from here, right? Okay, okay, right. So you really have to don't really eat into the original object, right? And then this, once it's erasing, it's giving you a transparent background. So let me reduce the size and then paint in here, right? Okay, and then brush also here. Right, so that's the background eraser tool in here, right? Removing the background. So click here, right? Okay, that's along the edges to take off the background. Right? So that's around the edges. So with this part like this, if you want to do it, then you really have to reduce the size of the background eraser tool, and then you do that. So yes, oh no. So let me have that carefully and gently around the edges, right? That to remove the background and then leave the object in there, right? Right. Okay, gentle. All right. Yes. So I just go on it. So once you've done that, here you can just right brush and then clear this background. So that's the background eraser tool, right? That's for erasing backgrounds in here, right? Okay. Right. So this also you can go with that. I can go with it around it carefully, right? Then I erase the background. Right. Okay. All right. So let's have the background being removed in there. Right. So, yes. All right. Oh no, that's too much. Okay. So you really have to take your time, right? Using the background eraser, then you erase the background gently, right? So even sometimes when the background is not a solid background, but the object stands out, you can use the background eraser to take that off, right? You can use that to take that off, and then so we can just go straight ahead, right? And then erase this other part of the background. So yes, it's time. Just have to take your time, right? And then you do that. And then the last tool that I'm going to look at in this lesson, that's the magic eraser tool, right? The magic eraser tool. So this magic eraser tool also that's magic in here. So yes, so let me undo this ones in here. So the magic eraser tool looks at similar images, right? That's at the background, right? Similar images at the background. So with this here, once I click on this, or similar pixels, or similar color, once I click on this, that's the magic eraser. So it's taking up the background for me. So click on that, right? Click on that, and then yes, I have it being taken off. So you just have to be clicking on this. If the image is a solid background, then it will do it once and for all, like it will do it once and for all for you. So with this, yes, I have the background removed, right, just by some few clicks in there. Let me go with an image which I'm sure that I can get it perfect, right, perfectly cropped. So let me try this image here. Okay, the size is even too small. Let me go with this also, and then open that. Okay. So open this in here. So with this, yes, with the background eraser, this is going to do it easy and simply. So back the magic eraser, sorry, right, the magic eraser tool, I click on this, and then yes, it has this removed in here. So this part also, I just have to be clicking on them, right, one, and then it will do that for me, right? Okay, right, and then here also, let me increase the size, and then the magic eraser, I click on this, and then yes, it takes the background off, right, because it's a solid color, right, because it's a solid color. I can go with that. Okay, so if there's any other image, okay, okay. But there's no other one in there. So okay, with this, let me try this. Maybe can have that. So I have this open also in here, and then with the help of the magic eraser tool, I can click on this. Okay, so it does something, right? So it does the magic for you. And then with this, yes, I have the background now removed from here. Right? I have the background removed from here. So I can even create a new layer, right? And then this layer here, let me give it a color. So let me cancel. So this is my background color. So I'll use control and then the backspace. Once I have this selected, control backspace, and then I apply that color instead, right? Or alt backspace, and then I have the red apply. But this, yes, it didn't really clear the edges very well for me. So look, using this in here, we're going to have this in there. So let me just go with my control backspace using my background color, right? So yes, we took it from the brush tool, right, and then straight to the magic eraser tool, right? So the next lessons in there, we are going to look at the gradient, the paint bucket, the 3D material. So with this, yes, you're going to skip this. When you get to the 3D interface, we look at that, and then these other options in there. Right, so stay connected, right? Don't forget to like the video, have your comments in the comment sections, and then you share as well, right? All right, so thank you for watching.